27, I started training for the Olympics when I was 18. And I know this is my last chance, my last opportunity. This is what I've spent nearly 10 years working for. This time is very different because I want my master's degree for me, a degree that will potentially sustain me after I'm done pursuing the dream I came here for. I started Rhythmic gymnastics when I was 11 years old, and I even got to the point where I was traveling internationally and I was competing. But I had a dream of making the Olympics, and I realized maybe the sport doesn't matter. And so I started looking for other sports. My brother and my dad at the time were doing Judo with a multiple-time Olympian, Pat Burris. And the first realization that maybe I could actually do this was in my very first year. I was the only person, man or woman at my age, to be able to qualify for the Olympic level championships and world championships. And it kind of just solidified in my head that if I'm willing to just pour everything into my goals, I can achieve anything. Both of my parents are currently and were college professors. So you can imagine that they were upset when I got it in my head that college was a lot of money and not worth it, and I didn't want to go. And they were worried that if I poured myself into judo and then retired, I'd have nothing. They understood that there's not going to be a financial career after judo. Basically, it was decided that I had to apply to at least one. So I applied to Harvard. And I remember I was at practice and all of a sudden my mom brought in cupcakes and she was like, "You got it." And it was like a huge thing. I could not believe it. So that's how I ended up going to college, even though I didn't want to. When I got into Harvard, obviously my parents were thrilled. The assumption was that I would sideline my judo career to be able to focus on college full time. And I didn't want to do that because in my head, I didn't see why I should give up anything at all. I was under the impression I could do it all. Because we disagreed, my parents said that if I was going to do it, I had to do it on my own. No financial help. Immediately all of that was pulled. I was taken off the health insurance, everything. They basically saw it as me giving up on my dreams and not chasing them. So I moved to New York, and I was basically homeless if it hadn't been for one of the athlete houses and lived there, and they were very forgiving in that I couldn't pay for rent for the first 2 months. I worked 12 hours. I jammed in my schoolwork and drove to Massachusetts when I could, and then I absolutely slaved away at the dojo with all of the judo I had to learn in order to be able to make it to the international level. Immediately being able to find a supportive community here is what helped me kind of achieve those dreams despite the difficulties. When I graduated in 2021, I graduated with my bachelor's in communications, and I was also on the dean's list.
Did they ever come around? I mean, you graduated. Were they there? Were they excited?
No. Sorry. I haven't talked to my parents since I left at 18. My strained relationship with my parents is it's hard because my coach tells me to pursue my dreams for me. But we're human, right? So there is other things that you think about. And one of those things is knowing that I at least gave myself the chance to follow these dreams, and the idea that maybe being able to achieve them will at least pave the way for someone else so that they can say that there's a precedent. Someone else has done it before, so they can do it too, because I didn't have that.
now. We're 8.5, almost 9 years later. I've been to more tournaments than I can count, frankly. I've been to several world championships. The last 4 nationals, including this year's, I've won. I've won 4 times consecutively. I married my boyfriend of a long time while I was at the club. I've made so many friends all across the world, and I'm very proud of how far I've come. Now that I'm in my last 4 years, I have to start thinking about what comes next. Ever since I graduated my bachelor's, I knew I wanted to get a master's degree. I remember seeing I had an email from Guild, and I opened it, and I'm reading that if you're recognized basically as an Olympic hopeful and you meet these criteria, they'll pay for a master's degree. And I have never run so quickly in my life. I immediately filled out an application. I saw Purdue Global, the Guild, the Team USA Learning Network, all of these wonderful things they're providing us. It was like a dream come true. I could not sign up fast enough. No one benefits more from the partnership between the Guild and the Team USA Learning Network than athletes. Even just finishing my bachelor's, I turned down lots of real jobs because I committed myself to be able to pursue those Olympic dreams. And the fact that now athletes that have made that sacrifice are now given a bit of that back is huge. We have that option, and now we can prepare ourselves for after our careers, because that's a genuine issue, is athletes either having their career ended for them via injury or just retiring with their laurels, but you can't eat just because you get an Olympic gold medal. The athletes deserve more support in every possible way. 3 years ago, I realized maybe I could make a difference if I joined our governance in the very area that makes those decisions. Having the MBA to help understand the dynamics of the corporate world has been absolutely critical in being able to effectively represent the athletes' interests in our sport. Every single day, I make sure I've accomplished at least one thing toward any of my goals. I've either accomplished schoolwork, went to work, trained. I cannot go to bed satisfied unless I know I have done at least one thing to pursue my dreams. Because otherwise it feels like that's time wasted. So I need to make every second count. If my parents had to know anything today, if they had to hear something from me, it would be that I know if they knew everything that I did, they would be proud. And that they should have known that I would never give up on my dreams.